Good Monday, makers. Welcome back to another episode of Maker Pipe Monday. I am joined by Jake here.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Hope everybody's having a good day and a good weekend.
Yeah, hope everybody had a great weekend. We're going to check out some awesome conduit builds from the community, Maker Pipe Connect. It's a really good group. It kind of is seasonal too because they're a little bit fall themed. We've got some great firewood racks. We've got some duck blinds. We've got a home robot assistant. You definitely want to check that out. It's pretty unique, cool project. And then we've got a boat cart by a longtime member of the community. So a lot of good things, a few more in there, and I know you're going to enjoy it. So we're going to go in depth on these builds and check them out. So you ready to get started, Jake?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do this. The first one we've got here is posted in the community from Mike. And Mike created this really neat firewood rack. Everybody's thinking fall fires, or if you heat your home either partially or full with wood heat. If you've got a stove inside, maybe to heat the garage, you need some firewood, right? So Mike made this firewood rack, and he saw it online somewhere, Facebook or Instagram, where somebody used a fire pit ring as a wood rack. So he thought, and this is an ingenious idea, why not use a raised bed, a galvanized raised bed, normally used for gardens, right, to create a garden raised bed, but he used it as kind of weather protector inside his firewood rack frame, which I just love. It's super cool. And you can see some of the details. It's and these raised beds are pretty common. You've got ones with rounded edges. This one has just a straight 90, which fits well with the frame. And pretty inexpensive. These things don't have a lot of rigidity on their own. So if you imagine trying to put a firewood pile just with that raised bed, it wouldn't really work. So that's where the conduit and Maker Pipe came in. So his frame's pretty simple. He's got 90-degree connectors in the corner, and then you can see those there. And I think he's using 1/2 inch as well with our shims. So saved a little bit on EMT conduit. And then he used the T connectors there to brace kind of in the middle. You can see some of the shims. This is a work in progress. Careful though, you don't want to get those, the nuts and bolts and parts have a way of getting lost in the grass there. But yeah, and then I think this center rod might be part of the bed. Usually they have kind of like a support structure in the middle to keep them before you put dirt in it, and that kind of shores everything up. But yeah, there it is. It's raised off the ground with some cinder blocks, but really cool.
Yeah, it's sweet. And I would imagine you'd be able to kind of use that in the garden months for an actual raised bed. And then, if you're not doing any winter gardening, or if you don't have a greenhouse plastic around it, you might take it down, use it for firewood rack in the fall, and then put it back up for spring builds.
Yeah, definitely could be. Definitely could. I love the reuse just of different materials, right? Like this was a raised bed and now it's a firewood rack. I love that because, conduit, right? You're not supposed to build stuff out of it. It's supposed to house wires and buildings. So I get that spirit and I love it. Thanks, Mike, so much for posting that. Really cool build. Appreciate you putting that in the community. Next build we've got. Let's check this out. Let's check this out. The next build we have is actually a review. Thanks so much for this review. It's a review on the T connector. You can check those out down in the bottom of the page. And this is by Venkat. Saddle and T connectors 1 inch. So what Venkat did is made this really cool light. What would you call this, Jake? Light truss?
I guess more of just like just a mounting frame for several different lights.
Yeah, not really a truss so much as it is just an overhead mounting system for lights. And if you're trying to get the perfect studio, and it looks like that's what they're doing here is creating a studio, you need to position those lights in a certain way. And this is a suspended circular rack from the ceiling. I think it's suspended by some wire here. You can see the cabling coming down, and then you've got this circular part that was probably bent with a pipe bender, I'm imagining, and then some bracing in the middle to hang the lights on. We've got another photo here. There's a little bit of a close-up. You can see that this is a wild thing. I haven't seen this before. This looks like a junction. It's doing a couple things. It's joining these two sections of the outside circle, but then it's also a mounting point for the cabling. So a lot of interesting stuff there. There's a crossover clamp here. There's another crossover clamp, and it looks like there's a through bolt as well to secure that. And that's important, right? Like if you're having something over your head, obviously make sure it's really solid. You don't want anything falling, right? Disclaimer there. But looks like there's through bolts with some washers, both on the crossover clamps and then the T connectors there. So, and we've been messing with that a lot. We've been using Maker Pipe in our studio where we're filming today, and we've seen a lot of that from the community of finding different uses for Maker Pipe in producing videos. But thanks so much for the review, Venkat. We really appreciate that. I'm glad you had a good experience. That means everything to us, and it's been really cool checking out your EMT truss.
And it's cool. I think it's a good combination of materials because just like we've talked about with certain like bike accessories and things, like if the diameter of a certain accessory or if the accessory is made for a certain diameter that fits conduit really well, that's really cool. And it seems like lighting is another kind of industry or hobby, whatever you want to call it, that has some accessories that fit conduit really well.
Right.
So it seems like he used a good combination of accessories to kind of, I'm sure, mount the lights and hang the lights kind of off the frame, and then even that junction piece we were looking at.
Yeah, we didn't get a really good detailed look on how he hung the lights on the conduit, but there's, like you're saying, there's a lot of off the shelf kind of solutions for that that allow you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And like you bring up bikes, I mean, we've kind of dove into a lot of information on lighting and studio, because that's what we're into. Mm-hmm. But I think we owe some more content to bikes. I think a lot can be done with that, and I'm passionate about that as well. So that might be a little selfish of me, but I think there's a lot to explore there as well.
Yeah, for sure.
If you guys are interested in that, definitely let us know in the comments if you'd like to see more of that. All right. Well, yeah, awesome. Thanks for the review. We love getting those to hear you had a good experience. This next build is pretty cool. We've got a build by Paul here, and Paul Hoover posted in this community. Now, I'm going to go back to his first post. His first post is where he kind of talks about the project. And now this is a home assistant robot that he is working on. And that's a rendering. You've got some pretty intense solid modeling going on here with a lot of different systems. I love it. And he chose to use Maker Pipe as kind of the frame to support the outside and kind of house some of the antennas and this system here and speakers and all that kind of thing. So showed up about 3 months ago. Paul posted that. Thanks so much, Paul, for posting in the community. Really caught our eye. And then we've got an update by Paul, and he posted the examples again, but then check out the video update. This is really cool. We've got the bottom chassis, you would say, all set up, and then there's the Maker Pipe frame, and it's alive. Johnny 5 alive. Look at that. That's so cool. So they're officially taking over. Maker Pipe robots are here. We've seen a few. What was it? What's Surfer Jim's?
Yes, Django.
Django.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And now Paul's getting into George 5000 or Jorge 5000. George, nice. Personal assistant robot, and it's coming along fast. And you can follow on Instagram # George 5000 for continued updates. Should we see what's what's going on there?
Yeah, sure.
I feel like we should jump on that and take a look. And then also, Paul mentioned in his original post that it's a Polyworks Labs Internet of Things home assistant robot. So it sounds like there's a whole kind of project behind it.
Yeah, there's a website that I don't know if we're logged in Instagram yet. But yeah, I think there's a whole website that he mentioned.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. I think there's a whole website that he mentioned that has like all kinds of robot chassis and everything. It was pretty cool that he shared that. I think the base that he's building off of was like a kit you could get, and then he's got they have all kinds of other ones ranging in price and like size and different things.
Oh, nice. Oh, great. Shout out for MakePipe. Thanks so much for that. Appreciate that. A little bit cardboard engineering here. And then, we're doing some recognition as well. What's that called?
Like facial recognition?
I guess. But there's some word for that, or phrase. And then schematic. So yeah, follow along on Jorge 5000, George 5000. And what was the project called? Let's see. Let me go back to Paul's Polyworks Labs. Let me see what comes up. And you checked this out before, Jake?
Yeah, it's like a whole website about like robotics and like robot chassis and wheels and parts and all kinds of things.
Nice.
We got John in the chat. Hey, John, thanks for stopping by. Left a quote. I think her pants are on fire for you. Johnny 5, the Hindu quote. We also have Dusty in the chat. Hey, Dusty, good morning. Thanks for stopping by.
Okay. This is a lot of home assistant Internet of Things sort of thing. So I don't think I'm finding the right thing, but
did he leave maybe Polyworks Labs is like the software for the Internet of Things, but maybe there's another one in the like maybe he put another name for the chassis and stuff. I thought it was Polyworks Labs, but
okay. Well, Paul, we really appreciate you posting that and keeping us updated on your project. It's so awesome to see. Let us know where we can find out more information. If you've got, obviously we'll keep tabs on the Instagram, but let us know kind of where more project information is located, because we'd love to follow along with you and check that out. Really appreciate you posting that to the community. Here we have a really cool build. This is a quick and simple solution to a common problem. So this has been posted by Jason in South Carolina, our fellow state. Appreciate that. And this is just a simple, quick solution to a common problem. So has these awesome kayaks. I think there's we don't get a picture of them there. Wasn't there? I thought there was a picture. Let me see if I can find that. It might have been a different post. We've got another kayak build as well. He talks about them, that 2 Perception Outlaw kayaks. That's it. So
maybe like the very last picture in the
No, that's about it. We just have those.
Oh, there it is.
The big things over the rack. But wanted to keep his toolbox in his truck and not have to take those out, but also mount the kayaks, which I can definitely appreciate. And just needed something to support the kayaks, so they weren't on the tailgate, and held it up, and then you can open your tailgate and access all the gear down below. So came up with a really simple solution using conduit and a few of our connectors and then some off-the-shelf stuff, where ran a piece of conduit all the way across and then used a T-connector in the middle, some pool noodles. These are the super pool noodles up here. You've got some yoga mats on this side right on top of the toolbox, and then goes down. It's supported kind of with one of our flanges. I don't think that's bolted in. It doesn't look like. It just kind of looks like it's a good way to rest on the bed liner. And then the part that I really love is this solution. I think this is so neat. These are off the shelf kind of bed mounts, truck bed, not really bed mounts, rail mounts, I guess you would call them. And Jason puts links and really documented it well. Appreciate that. But here are the bed anchors that he got off Amazon. You can check those out, and they just pop into those holes on the sides of your bed on the rails, and then they pretty much have a U-bolt. So that's what he used, and we've been using U-bolts, a lot of different applications just for holding down pipe in a certain location, and that's exactly what Jason did. He used those on the sides to hold that piece of pipe, which just opens up so many different options. I mean, you could have all kinds of different racks or accessories, and this looks like a super efficient way, to attach conduit to your bed.
Yeah, it's really cool. It looks like is there like a bolt hole through the side of the conduit there with like a string or something? Or no, it's just like a cotter pin.
Cotter pin, right? And he talked about that in his write up that just to prevent any it sliding out, with any sort of vibrations, put that cotter pin, drilled a hole and put the cotter pin in the end of it.
Nice.
And all said, I think it was less than $20. And able to carry able to carry the kayaks, doesn't have to take the toolbox out, and then still has access to all the gear down below for $20. How could you beat that?
Yeah, that's really cool. Because imagine if you take you take the toolbox out, or even if you don't have the toolbox out and you have the kayaks in there and they're up on the tailgate, or even if they're sticking out the back, they're going to stick out really far. So then that leaves you with either taking out the toolbox or, not doing that, or, trying to secure them in some way, but then they're going to stick out forever. So it's really a good solution.
Yeah. So definitely hope somebody out there can use that. Jason, thanks so much for kind of posting the write-up. He's got links to all the stuff he used in the community. You can check out the links in the description down below to go right to that project, or just go to the connect.makerpipe.com. We've got that there. So really cool project. Thanks so much, Jason, for posting that. All right, here we've got one by Nick. And Nick, this is another kayak-related post. We're coming up, I don't know, end of kayak season?
I think it's just starting.
Yeah, fall is the kayak season. I guess it depends where you're at, but definitely a good time to be out on the water.
I think it also depends if you're like fishing or just like leisurely, just kayaking.
Yeah. Or running the rapids.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is a kayak roll around kayak rack. So if kayaks are great, but when you get them home and you got to store the things and move them around, they're pretty big. So you got to come up with a solution. And we've seen a lot of kayak racks and carts and all kinds of different solutions. But check this out. Nice looking boats. And this is the double decker. We've seen some similar to this, I think, right, over the years.
Yeah, I think so. This one's unique because of that middle section that kind of hoisted up a little bit. A lot of the ones we've seen just have the horizontal bars that it sits on, just like the bottom one does.
Oh yeah, and look at that! It kind of mirrors and falls into some geometry in the bottom of the kayak.
Yeah, it really sits in there nice.
That's neat, because we've seen a lot with like PVC.
Mm-hmm.
As runners might be a good solution, but here we've got some pipe insulation. It looks like. And you've got these two platforms, top and bottom, on just a simple frame. The frame looks super strong. You've got just a rectangular kind of box there with casters in the middle. That's a good starting point for a whole lot of different projects. And then these 45s to kind of give it some angular bracing as well. And you've got a bottom section and a top section. This looks like it's really put together well.
It's good too if you think about, like, if it was sitting just on the flat pipes like we see sometimes, it may not be as rigid just because it doesn't have any cross bracing in the middle, just kind of a box.
Mm-hmm.
But by adding those middle kind of hoisted sections, on both the top and the bottom. Really adds a lot of rigidity.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. That definitely would add to it. But yeah, and now you can move them around, wheel them around as needed up to the car, kind of get them loaded or the truck. Awesome.
Yep, you just roll them up to your truck bed rack
Mm-hmm.
that you installed with your
Right.
with your toolbox.
This is a whole system here. Nice. Well, Nick, awesome post. Thanks so much. We really appreciate that. It's nice work on that build. We get a lot of kayak stuff. Like what else have we seen? We've seen kayak carts, kayak racks, certainly.
Like caddies to
Caddies, right?
mini truck racks.
All kinds of different stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, grab handle. We've seen quite a lot of kayak stuff. So that's
we have a whole video roundup on kayak related projects. There's like a whole video on the channel. It's from a while back, but Dave used the iPad and was drawing on them and kind of pointing out some different techniques for how you could make a rack and covered storage areas and things like that.
Covered storage area. Yeah, we had that one customer do basically like a lean-to covering. I think that was for kayaks. But anyway, yeah, Nick, awesome build. Thanks so much for posting that in the community. I'm going to jump, while we're on this this same theme, I'm going to jump over to a build by a longtime member of the community, Kristen. And what she built is this really neat cart for not kayaks. She's got some longer boats, think like longer rowing boats that she needs to get down to the shore. And this has been a progression over a number of years, because back in November of 2020, quite a while ago, she had a few iterations of this. And I remember, check this out. And this is a picture of one of her boats too. These kind of caddies with a suspension and, a few cool bends with casters. And there's a good kind of picture of her rowing boats. But she's within walking distance to the lake. And then that allows her to, this was for a rowboat as well. She had another caddy. So this is all different ways of her solving the problem of how to get, her boats to the water. And this is the latest iteration, which has a lot of really neat features. And you can tell, Kristen, your building is coming along great. I mean, this is really cool. You got some nice bends in there, and it's put together well. But you never believe what she used parts from. And this goes to the same old concept of reuse something else that wasn't intended. But she used parts from a baby stroller. And the wheel sets, they're from a stroller. You've got these fixed wheels and then casters. But then she also used the handle as well, which this part right here, I think, is the baby stroller part as well. So how cool is that? I mean, reusing something like that. And what's neat about it is she's got this brake. Baby strollers have kind of a brake where you lock it in place. And that's part of the functionality that she wanted on this. So she deconstructed the baby stroller and then incorporated it into her build.
Yeah, that's super clever. Because she made it, I think one of the things she needed was to be able to walk beside it. She was saying in the post.
Mm-hmm.
And so having like the casters that went all the different ways would make it kind of complicated to walk beside with the paddle boards, both paddle boards on there, 'cause it's for two, which would be a decent amount of weight. So having the handle off to the side you can grab onto, and then, kind of steady it, break it a little bit, keep it going as you're going down a hill or whatnot.
Oh, this is for paddle boards.
Yeah, 2 paddle boards.
Oh, I missed that in the post. Okay, 2 paddle boards and paddles. Yeah, first sentence.
Same kind of thing though.
Right. So we've got the rowboats. We've got I guess, what would you call these? What are these
It's
called?
a rowing
shell.
Yeah.
And then you've got the bigger boat that she did, and now she's got paddle boards. So it's kind of that's Kristen's mission, this common theme.
I think they live really close to the water.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and then she used, so that's the hinge she used for the handle, and then she used telescoping some of our telescoping clamps here so she could extend out the handle and walk beside it and then kind of put it down when it wasn't in use. Yeah, like it. The little clips here as well on the side to put the paddles. So, Kristen, awesome job, coming a long way. Really appreciate seeing it, and yeah, thanks for posting it to the community and being part of the community. Love it.
Have a couple more people in chat. WPC stopped by. Thanks for stopping by, asking if we had any bike cart designs. We did one, or they kind of built one for the Kickstarter a few years ago. We haven't really updated a design for that yet, but it is something we need to revisit and rebuild. Because we had, I think, the axle with the 3D printed parts.
Right.
It was pretty cool. And you can see, if you go back to like one of the first couple of videos on the channel, you'll see like a short clip of somebody riding it. Oh, there it is.
Yep, pulled it up. That's one of the initial bike carts. And boy, I'd love another crack at doing this too. I think I learned a lot about just building. We have a lot more connectors. This was built only with T's, so definitely do a lot better on there. I think there might be there's another picture of it. Yeah, that's a lot better picture. Some mountain bike wheels, some 3D printed parts. I was pretty pleased with how it attached to the bike, although I was just looking at this actually last night. This is pretty, I came across a site that did axles specifically for this. What do they call it? Rogers bike axle. I think that's it. Rogers. Yeah, here we go. So what these are axles that replace your current axle in your rear, specifically so you can attach a trailer or something else. So let's get a good picture of it here. Products, kids let's see, cargo rack axles, trailer axles. That's what we want. Nope. Yep. Here we go. So you can see there's like an extra mounting point on the end. But it just, it has all these different hardware. So that could be something, if we go into it again, that might be part of the solution.
And I think with crossover clamps, there's a lot of possibilities too. Instead of having to adapt it with 3D printers or like a 3D printed piece, like just having a complete axle that goes from bike wheel to bike wheel. Bike wheel to bike wheel. Sounds weird when I say that word. I don't know why.
Right.
But anyway, having a crossover clamp that attaches the axle to the frame might allow you to keep that axle completely solid.
Oh, totally. Because these were just takeoffs of a different mountain bike that we had, right? And you can see that, it worked, but it wasn't the best solution. But what we've been seeing with a lot of wheeled carts and things is just keeping that axle through all the way and then using crossover clamps to attach it below here. Seems like the way to go. Because I think you have that challenge, and then you have, how do you attach it to the bike, right? And then how do you make it detachable? Because you don't always want to have your trailer on there, so you got to easily take it off, and then it has to flex. When you're going around corners, you can't have the bike and the cart be rigid. It needs to be able to turn as well. So those are some of the challenges that I think are kind of neat to solve in coming up with a bike cart. And of course, you can buy one, right? But we've had quite a few unique requests for bike carts, different uses, right? Like what was the gentleman's name that had the initiative that the roadside trash initiative?
Oh, right.
He had a whole initiative where he wanted to use a bike cart to be able to, people could collect trash from the roadside and clean up the community, which I thought was really cool. You can check out an interview with him if you're interested in more. But
his name was Joe, I believe.
Oh yeah,
I think so. And he shared some updates. it was pretty. I think he finished it, like his original cart design. I think he finished it and was using it.
Right.
It was really cool. Had like a bathroom installed. Had like several reciprocals for different kinds of trash. Cause basically just trying to clean up his community, and he was walking around pulling this cart around.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And okay, Ron in the chat saying camper is an idea.
oh yeah.
I've seen these. That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Like an ultralight camper that you can actually has a sleep system in it, for bike touring. Yeah, that would be really neat. I think you could do it pretty well. I mean, our connectors are stamped out of steel, so they do represent a little bit of weight. But conduit's thin wall, so you end up being surprised by the lightweightness of it. And even if it's a first iteration to kind of prototype, and then fabricate something out of aluminum or titanium or something. Titanium would be a little bit of a stretch, probably aluminum or something like that. But yeah, really cool idea, Ron. Love to hear your ideas on that if you'd like to share what you're thinking, because it would be neat to try another cart at some point.
For sure.
All right. So we've got a couple really cool builds coming up here. We've got two that are similar. Now these are boat blinds. So duck hunters, we hear from duck hunters about this time every season, and they have a unique challenge, right? Because there's all kinds of different boats that they use for their hunting, and you want to have a blind, some sort of concealment on the water. And you've got all these custom boats, all different sizes, angles, different needs, groups of people, all different kinds of things. And it's a little bit of a tricky thing to buy off the shelf. And Charles here posted, he was looking into duck blinds for his old Restore's Bass Tracker boat. And he saw this one by a company called Bustum Blinds. And here's a picture of kind of the commercial solution. Almost looks, I thought it was Maker Pipe right off the bat. It's just round tubing, and you can see that there's different, this is the effect to use different grasses and camouflage on the boats. And there's different windows and access that you have. That's a common thing that I've seen. And I'm by no means an expert. We've just seen this for a few seasons now. And so that's what he was going off of as something that he wanted to make custom. And he said he looked on YouTube, and he tried to, he came across the manufactured unit, and then he was going to employ he's got a friend that's a welder and fabricator. Probably work something out. I hope he's a good friend. That's a lot of work to fabricate something like that. But then really cool, because Charles came across Maker Pipe and had an epiphany, and thinking that he could, use that. And he just goes on his post that it was exactly what he was looking for, which is great, Charles. We're so excited that you found something that made your project work out. And this is his boat and the beginnings of his frames. I really like this because he posted a few in progress photos, which I love seeing, right? Not only the finished project, but actually the workspace and beautiful barn spot to work in the summer. But as he goes through and kind of transforms his boat, and you want it removable too, right? Because this is for only one part of the use of the boat, obviously. And there it is. Pup looks impressed, catching some shade on a summer day. I love it. And then there's the back. So you can see it pretty. I mean, it's a rectangular structure, right? That would then get all the camouflage and grass. And then I think on the nose of the boat, you've got kind of these swing open gates. It looks like it swings open. Doesn't that look like to you, Jake? Can you see?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the T method where it's just slightly loose, and then it just allows you to hinge it and swing, I believe.
Right. and you got the nose of the boat where you can get access, and then pretty much just used T's all the way around. Here's some 45s, an adjustable angle I can kind of see, and then really went about just piecing it together.
And I think the way he mounted it to the boat, if you look at the very last picture,
Those spring clamps.
well, I think he's using that to kind of put it in place. But
Yeah.
there's a close up. Those brackets I've never seen before. They almost look like door hinge brackets.
Yeah.
Where they kind of like taper off and get smaller.
Or like a spring clip like thing. It might be something custom that Charles made. I'm not sure. Yeah, Charles, we'd love to hear if you end up seeing this. We'd love to hear where you found those and what those are, because a lot of times those specific brackets can really make it super easy for someone doing exactly what you're doing. But yeah, looks great, and can't wait to see it too. Please follow up once you get it all camoed out and with some grass and everything when it's time. We'd love to see that. But we have a couple resources because we've been seeing so many builds. We have a couple resources that we'll link down in the description. We did one roundup with a few different builds, a blog. So there's a few different examples that you can see if you're interested in doing that to your boat. Makes it a little bit easier. And then we also have another example of that. This one is by Jake posted it and Matt sent it in probably by email. But it just goes to show this is a little bit different style of a boat. And, I'm sure you can turn most any boat into something with at least that has a lot of space on the inside that might be appropriate for duck hunting. And you can see that they custom made the frame again to whatever the boat needed to be. Because I imagine like you get one of these boats that, maybe hasn't had a lot of production, right? Or is a little bit older. And it's going to be near impossible to find a blind structure for it,
Yeah, because you'd think like one of these companies, for them to make one, like it'd have to be like a super common boat for them to like spend the time to manufacture it and sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even that one that
Charles?
we just looked at, Charles, yeah, thanks. That I looked into that Bustum Blinds company a little bit, and like they make custom boats, but you have to drive your boat to their location. And I think that was one of the issues Charles was having. You leave your boat there for X amount of time, go home, do whatever, and then you go back and get it later and then take it back home. Which is a pretty cool thing that they do. But if you live like all the way across the country or something, that could be a lot of time and money on top of paying for the blind itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but definitely check them out if you want a solution like that, like a turnkey solution, and you have the resources for that. That sounds like a good solution. But if you want something a little bit more custom and do it yourself, electrical conduit might be an option for you. But yeah, if you, because they're building them custom, right? I mean, like if you give them their boat, they're going to custom fabricate the blind. It's not even like an off the shelf thing.
Right.
So I don't even know if they have really. I'm sure the more popular models have off the shelf blinds that you could buy, but it's got to be like Charles had a bass tracker, right? Which you've heard of before, maybe, and it might be an off the shelf solution. But anyway, so. Also, we've got this one, and it's mounted a little bit different. Instead of to the top rails, it's to the inside, and I think they used
conduit hanger straps.
Conduit hanger straps, yeah, which are a common electrician item that you can get at any hardware store, and it's good for attaching conduit to a flat surface. Let me pull up.
Yeah, I think. Just like with anything, adapting it to your existing frame is kind of the issue. Because building the frame would be easy with the conduit, but just adapting it is the challenge to overcome.
Right, and you can see how this provides a bolt hole to mount to a flat surface, and then you can attach the conduit parallel to that. Similar, 2-hole straps, that kind of thing might be solutions for you.
And something like that's great to utilize kind of the flat surface of the boat and then the strap itself grabs onto the conduit, or you
Mhm.
can do what Charles did and utilize because most of the top of those boats actually have like a tube at the top, but they just have kind of a flat piece in the middle that kind of keeps you from being able to just directly connect onto it. I wonder if you could cut the puzzle piece off the connector and clamp onto the rail easily. That would be strong enough.
Cut the puzzle piece off the connector and then clamp onto the rail.
Just so the puzzle piece isn't like it doesn't have to fully go around the pipe that's on the rail of the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe even cut like a small slit out of the rail on the boat wherever you want to connect.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So the connector can just grab onto the railing.
Right. So if they if the boat is fabricated with like a top rail, you know, like a round piece, grab onto that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like we've seen that.
Probably.
But that's an interesting idea too, Jake, because I've thought of that a number of times, and I think that comes in handy in a number of different ways. But, you know, just cutting out where the puzzle piece and then seeing how strong it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Jake's talking about if you just chopped off the puzzle piece, so it let part of the rail be exposed, right? It doesn't go all the way around, and then see how good it hangs on. Is that what you're explaining?
Yeah, that's it.
So, yeah, we should try that, see how it works.
Yeah, it'd be interesting because just a lot of those boats have that top kind of tubular shape on the top rail. So if you could just directly build off of that, then you wouldn't have to find, some other solution to adapt it.
Yeah. Well, neat. No doubtedly we're going to see some more of these boat blinds, duck blinds, as season grows closer. So if you've got one, or if you have an interest in one, again, check out those descriptions in the link. The link in the description for more resources if you want to see more, or send in yours if you end up starting a project with a boat blind. Let us know. But Matt, thank you so much for posting this build. Really cool, and I hope it finishes out well. Give us an update if you think of it. So those are all the builds we've got. Kind of a fall sampler, I think, Jake, huh?
I think so too. It's that time of year.
Yeah.
I love fall. Everybody gets out their pumpkin spice and.
Oh gosh.
Surprised you
boy.
haven't seen any out. I'm not a huge pumpkin spice person, but
No, pumpkin spice. I think we're all pumpkin spiced out.
yeah.
Although I passed by an apple orchard,
Oh, nice.
and the apples were looking pretty ripe, pretty good. It's getting time. We're in the southeast, so we get apple season pretty early. In fact, we've got a big apple festival around Labor Day, and that's kind of in the mountains when the apples are ready to go.
Have you ever been to the Apple Festival?
I've never been to the actual apple festival
It's pretty epic.
in Henderson.
Hendersonville, yep.
Yeah, Hendersonville, right. But we might check it out this year.
Yeah, my Nana lives up there, so we usually go every year. My family went to the apple orchard a couple weeks ago. I was camping with my brother, so I missed it. But
Really? Already?
mm-hmm.
Was it apples were ready?
Yeah, they were waiting for a specific. My stepmom really likes the Gala apples or Gala, whatever they're called.
Yep, those are good.
And I think they were waiting on those to come in season, and they just did not too long ago. So
Oh,
yeah.
It's on.
Yeah.
Apple season here in North Carolina, South Carolina. Where did they go to?
They went to Skytop Orchard, I believe it's
Oh,
called.
yeah,
Right off of 25,
right.
right below Hendersonville.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the premier orchard. But I mean, good to get ahead of the season because that place gets absolutely swamped.
Oh, yeah. Go for the apples, stay for the donuts.
I love the donut station
Yeah.
there, and so if you haven't been there, it's pretty much a donut conveyor line, and they've got it housed in this little shack, right? And it's just off the side of the orchard. And there's a donut, what do you call it, masher, or like you put in the apples, and all this happens, and it spits out the donut donut batter, right? And then it drops it right into the fryer, and then it picks it out of the fryer. And literally, as fast as this donut conveyor line will go, there's just people there, one after the another. And the line goes like, 100 yards in one direction. I've seen it. It's wild. And they're just, donuts are popping out of this machine. And then there's people there to scoop up the donuts. It's absolutely fantastic.
I bet they make a lot of dough.
There it is.
I had to sneak one in. I've been waiting.
It took you all episode to sneak one
I
in.
had one earlier, but I missed it. I was going to say, on the light truss, I was going to say, you can trust the conduit. But I missed it.
No, it's too late. But
I know.
You nailed it here.
Yep.
And Ron in the chat, he's given O. Richards just opened a couple days ago in Michigan. So yeah, even in Michigan, it is apple season. So let us know in the chat or in the comments what your favorite apple orchard is in your neck of the woods, and maybe you can turn on somebody to a really good orchard and have a good fall experience. So thanks everybody for posting their builds, for visiting the community and participating. Everyone who joined us live in the chat, thanks so much. I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good week.
All right. Take care.